Well, hello everybody and welcome back. I'm nervous but also excited for this video. You've already read the title and thumbnail, but I'm still going to tell you what we're doing today, and that is we're going to read together Emily Henry's newest release, Great Big Beautiful Life. I'm excited. I'm nervous. I'm not sure how this is going to go. I've heard a lot of mixed reviews. I've heard a lot of people say that it's the least romantic book from her. I think I'm just gonna get into it. I have like an hour-ish, like 45 minutes to get in to the book. So I'm gonna try to get maybe like the first couple chapters in, just see how it's going, see how it's feeling, see what the vibe is like. And then I will see you guys for more updates as we read Great Big Beautiful Life. Well, hello everybody. It's now the next day. I really haven't got much reading done since the first time I talked to you guys. I'm only on chapter 5. I'm going into chapter 5 right now. So I'm not very far into this book. I think I'm like a couple, I don't even know, like 50 pages maybe. It says I'm 9% into the book. So not far at all. Not even a little bit. So far, I'm enjoying the female main character, Alice. I'm intrigued to see how the relationship between her and the male main character, Hayden, is going to like progress through the story. Even if it's not like romantically, but just like in a friendship kind of like way. I will say that Emily Henry's banter is always very, very good, so I'm expecting really good banter. I am having a bit of like unsureness that's coming up in my feelings for this book, because the premise of the story is that Hayden and Alice are both these writers who want to write this biography for this woman, Margaret, I forgot her name, Margaret something, and she's basically this like socialite woman who was, you know, her family was very famous and very prominent in like, I'm assuming Hollywood and stuff like that. And from the sounds of it, it sounds like it's going to be very similar in story to like The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo by Taylor Jenkins Reid, which I really enjoyed that book. But it kind of feels like it's going to end up being the same thing of like all these crazy stories are going to come out from when this woman was younger and like was really in the eye of the public. It feels, I guess I shouldn't say I'm worried. I'm excited to see if it's going to be similar to Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo, because I loved The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo. That book was so good and so interesting, and I'm just excited. I feel like it's going to be fun. In that book, I loved the story. And this one, I'm wondering how it's going to be told to you, because it does seem like from the synopsis and everything and from like the beginning of this that they're both not going to get told the same thing all the time from Margaret. So I'm excited to see what's going to happen. I'm hoping to try and get at least a decent chunk, if not finish this book today. I definitely could. It's only like 2:30 right now. So I definitely could finish this book today, but we'll see. I'm excited. I'm definitely interested in what's going to happen in the book, but we shall see how it goes. So I'm going to get to reading for a little while, and then I'll come back maybe at like the 50% update. Or I guess I'll just come back whenever I feel like I need to come update you guys on something, because I'm sure there'll be things I want to talk to you about. So I'm going to go. See you guys in a little while. Well, hello everyone. I'm here to do our 50% update on Great Big Beautiful Life. I've been using my little Kindle holder thingy and my little remote clicker to read. This has become a necessity thing if I'm reading on my Kindle, which is pretty much all I read now is on my Kindle. So yeah, this has become a must-have item for me, genuinely. Anyway, moving on to the actual what's going on with the story. I'm here for my 50% update. I'm a little further than 50%. I'm actually 54%. Not a lot, but a little bit further. We're on chapter 21. I don't know if the page count is correct. I think it says like 200 and something. I don't really know if that's accurate or not though. I don't know. Anyways, moving on. So, I feel like I need to talk about this in two separate ways. The main story of the biography that they're writing, and then I need to talk about the relationship. Like, I feel like I need to talk about those things separately, because as I'm reading, they're feeling separate, if that makes literally any sense. I guess I could explain what I'm thinking. So the way that I'm reading this story is almost as if I'm reading two separate stories that are just taking place at the same time. So I feel like the chapters where she's meeting with Margaret and talking about her life and getting her notes and everything for this biography that she's trying to write, I feel like that part of the story is separate from the interactions and the other chapters where you're more hearing about what she's doing while she's living on this island in between when she's with Margaret, talking about Margaret's life and stuff. So for the Margaret part of the story and the actual like biography and that kind of thing that's going on, I'm loving it. It feels exactly how I was expecting. It feels very similar to The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo, with the old Hollywood and the drama and the money and the lavishness. All of that feels very interesting. I'm very intrigued. I'm enjoying the story on that front. And then with the separate part where it's like the relationship between our male and female main characters, Hayden and Alice, I kind of am actually going to say that I disagree with the people that were saying that this isn't a romance, because I feel like the banter, the relationship, the scenes that are happening between these two characters, for me personally, I think are very much romance. I feel like it's very like even. It's like every other chapter switches between whether it's mainly focused on the biography part of the story or on their relationship and their friendship that's been kind of blossoming, I guess. I think that this is pretty on par for all of Emily Henry's books. I feel like a lot of Emily Henry's books are mainly focused on what our female main character is doing throughout the story, and then you just also get the male main character experiencing stuff too. Like, does that make any sense? I feel like all of her books are in this same sort of format where there is a main plot that is separate to the romantic relationship that's happening, but you still get a pretty good amount of the relationship. I think where everybody's coming at saying that it's not romantic is that they're not actually like dating and nothing really scandalous or spicy has really happened, even though I'm only just about a little over 50% through the book, and there was already one scene where I was like, am I the only one that read this scene and was like, yeah, that's a romance. Like, this is border on spicy scene right now that I'm reading. Like, what? Hello? I don't know if it's just my opinion and because I want this to be a romance that I'm reading it as a romance, but I feel like it's a romance. That's just my opinion. It's just my opinion, okay? It's just my opinion. I just feel like it, to me, is reading as a romance, and so I guess I'm just going with it. I don't know. That's just my opinion. So far, I'm enjoying it. I definitely don't think, unless like crazy things start happening and gets really, really interesting, that this will be more than maybe like a 4.5 stars. And that all depends on how the story continues for the next 50% to the very end. Because, you know, I love funny story and like book lovers. Like, I love all of Emily Henry's books. I have a couple 5 stars from her. I'm leaning towards, I think this is probably going to be a 4-star for me, but you never know. You never know how the last 50% will go. I feel like sometimes I say like, oh, I'm really enjoying this book, and then the last half is terrible and then I don't like it anymore. Or the opposite. I say I don't love it in the beginning, and then the last half is really great, and then I love it, you know? It's about 5:30. I'm going to get back into reading. Hopefully, I actually think I'm definitely going to try and finish this tonight. I think my book says I have like 3-ish hours left of this book, so I think I could definitely finish it today. So I think we're just going to try and read it all because I'm having a great time. I love Emily Henry. I'm enjoying what I'm reading. I'm not feeling as connected to the characters as I normally would in a romance, but I'm still feeling very into the story and interested in what's going on and looking forward to what's coming next. So, I'll let you know how it goes. I'm going to get back in to reading, and then I will come at you when I have more to say. I love that I've just had it sitting here like this the whole time. That's hilarious. Anyways, I'm going to get back into the book. I'll see you guys when I have more to say. That's it. I'm liking it. I'm enjoying it. That's all. Bye. my god. Oh my god. Okay. I feel like I have gathered my thoughts as best as I think I can. I think I'm ready to talk about the book, give you guys my review. So, Great Big Beautiful Life by Emily Henry. I am going to talk about this book the same as I was earlier in the two separate parts, because I feel like there is this separation between the biography that we're getting throughout the story and the romance part of the story. So that's how I'm going to talk about it. We're going to talk about them separately, and then at the end I'll talk about them together. Okay? Okay. Starting out with the biography, interview, you know, retelling of Margaret Ives' life that you get throughout this story. I loved it. I felt that it was so interesting. I wanted to always know more. I still would love even more information about it. I think that the story that Emily Henry painted for you of this character and of her life and the difficulty and the lavishness within it, I felt was so well thought out that like I really could picture these people. Going back to my earlier statement of that it felt very reminiscent of The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo, I still stand by that point. I feel like if you really enjoyed The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo by Taylor Jenkins Reid, you would probably really enjoy this book, as long as you are open to a more romantic side plot that kind of happens throughout the entire book, because there is a male and female main character that you follow throughout the entire story besides Margaret, who is our subject for the biography that's happening throughout the story. But the old Hollywood, the drama, the money, the lavishness, the story that you learn is very reminiscent and very similar to some of the things that are talked about and that you learn in The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo. And I feel like it almost in my head could be taking place in the same world as The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo. Like, I feel like Margaret Ives could have been best friends with Evelyn in this story. Like, genuinely, I was waiting for Evelyn Hugo to be brought up. Genuinely. Like, that's how perfectly I feel like it encapsulated that same era of popular socialite people that are in the tabloids and everything. I loved it. I thought the story was great. I thought it was suspenseful. I feel like the story was so much, there was so much going on that even if the romance wasn't as good, I think I still would have enjoyed the story. So on that part, on the biography and on Margaret Ives' part of the story, I loved it. I thought it was amazing. Moving to the romance, which I do not see how anybody in their right mind that read the same book that I just read would say that they don't think that this is a romance, that they don't think that this book should be marketed as a romance. I don't know if you read the same book that I read, because from my perspective, there were more than 4 scenes throughout this story that I, as somebody who's not an avid smut reader or spicy reader, I guess you would say, would consider spice within this book. I would even go out on a limb and say that this book is more spicy than other books from Emily Henry that I've read. I think that this book specifically, the scenes that I read in it were more spicy than books that are marketed as spicy romances that I've read before this. So maybe it's just because I was told that it wasn't very romantic, that I saw the romance for a more romantic thing. I don't even know. Because from my perspective, I don't see how you could read through these spicy scenes and be like, that wasn't a romance. This is a women's fiction. Girl, excuse me? What are you talking about? Literally, what are you talking about? Literally, what are you talking about? Now, if you feel differently, that is totally fine. I love that everybody can have their own opinion on a book. But from my perspective and from my comprehension of the story, there is romance. A very heavy romance that is a very deep connection that, yes, is a little bit of insta-love, but honestly, I feel like it was written in a way that wasn't like cringe insta-love, but just like two people that were made for each other just happened to stumble upon this friendship that developed into more. And like as the story progresses, they really truly do seem to fall in love with each other. So I don't know if maybe that's just the romantic inside of me that wanted them to be together and wanted it to be romantic and saw it as that. Like straight up, there were four spicy scenes that I would consider spice, and I'm somebody who normally skims through those chapters and things. So for me to even be like, yeah, that was spicy. Like I read through it and was like, whoa, that was a lot. I don't see where people are coming from, but maybe I don't know. Maybe I don't read spicy enough books. Maybe to somebody who reads more spicy stuff, this wasn't very spicy. For me, I thought it was, but that's just my opinion. Anyway, regardless of that, I loved the romance. I loved their relationship, even though it was very much like I was just saying insta-love-y. I still thoroughly enjoyed their relationship. I feel like they were just that perfect, like grumpy sunshine, made for each other kind of romance. And I loved the ending. I loved, oh my God, I almost started crying at the end because of the just pure joy I was feeling for this couple. Even though they're not real people, I still felt that feeling of like, I'm so happy that these people are happy. They might not be real, but in their universe, they're happy and together and, you know, doing well and whatever. I just feel like it was just so wonderful. That's all I can say. I'm trying to pick a rating I feel like matches with how I feel, but I don't know. It feels impossible to give it a number. It feels like I just loved this book and I thought it was amazing, and I knew that Emily Henry was going to hit because all of Emily Henry's books are really good, even if some of them aren't like my favorites from her. This book was it felt so much deeper and more emotional than some of her other ones from like my recollection of them. And like, I don't know. After taking a moment to really feel my feelings, really think through all my thoughts, I think I am going to be the most annoying mother effer you can ever imagine. And I think I'm going to give this book a 4.75, which I know some people aren't going to care about, but I know some people really don't like when people give books weird ratings that are in between stars, because technically speaking, I don't even think there's any book app that you can give a 4.75, at least that I know of. So, I mean, on Goodreads, it'll probably show that I gave it a 5 stars, but I'm going to write 4.75. You know what I mean? I just feel like it's not a 4.5, but I feel like it's not a 5-star either. Like, I just don't know. And the star rating that is giving me the most satisfaction and feels the most right to me is a 4.75. So I am going to be that annoying. Apologies, but whatever. Anyway, I genuinely have no idea what else to say. I feel like I've lived 10 lives throughout this story and I've loved every minute of it. I would 1000% recommend reading this book, especially if you like Emily Henry, or especially if you enjoyed The 7 Husbands of Evelyn Hugo. Also, recommend that book. It's really good too. You know, whatever. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. Comment, like, and subscribe down below, and don't forget to put on those post notifications so you get a notification the next time I post. And I will see you guys in the next video. Toodles! I can't believe I have to wait an entire year for a new book from Emily Henry.